I mean, it's gotten so bad that we're forced to send vehicles out to vendors and dealers, and they're coming back not properly repaired or not repaired at all. A month ago, I got back into turning wrenches, which a lot of technicians are not doing. They're doing the opposite. And the real reason I got back into doing this again is because I got my old job back, the best job I ever had. It's working for a fleet for a major company, and it's still a good gig, but the outside automotive world is affecting the inside fleet gig. You see, fleets are kind of isolated when it comes to comparing them to a dealership or an outside shop. They don't have a direct customer. The customer is themselves. So if they can fix and maintain their own vehicles, they're just patting themselves on the back, per se. So you don't have any problems with customers not wanting to foot the bill because it's too expensive or fighting warranty claims. That really doesn't happen. Honestly, you can have, which I had this week, a 2013 vehicle that needs, I don't even know how much the work's gonna be, it's a lot. And they just check it off because they need it. They have a lot of vehicles, but apparently they need it. And the funny part is after they spend $10,000, $12,000, I'm not exaggerating, on this vehicle, they'll look at it and be like, oh yeah, we should probably sell this. After the work's done, of course. But I digress. The issue we're having that stems from the outside automotive world and this technician shortage is a lack of technicians. But it's for a different reason. It's not that people don't want this job and people are leaving this job. They're leaving this job because they're retiring. They're of age. There's a huge gap. See, when I left, they weren't hiring anybody throughout the entire company, not the fleet side, the entire company. And this hiring moratorium caught up with them in the last couple of years. You see, they had such a drove of people retiring. They don't do a really good job on advertising the fleet aspect of this job, more of everything else. I'm not naming names on what job this is, but fleet repair is only a small part of it. See, there's also a lot of red tape in terms of hiring. It took me, someone who worked there before, about 6 months from start of application to start date. It's a lot. Granted, it's, I guess for a good reason for a company, they're not gonna hire some random off the street, but it's hurting them because not getting enough people in the door. Which leads us to the problem of not having enough techs and having too much work and the techs not being able to complete the work. So they're forced to send these vehicles to a third-party vendor, dealership, just another shop to get the work done so they can give it to whatever department needs it and continue on and so forth. But this is where the problem comes in. They're sending them to dealers, they're sending them to big third-party shops, and the work's getting done, coming back and finding out it's a shoddy repair. I've had about 4 cars since my month of starting over again to recheck because we're rechecking every one of these vehicles that leave and they're coming back terribly repaired. I had one go to a dealership for a rack and pinion. They installed the rack and pinion right and they broke the sway bar end link and didn't tell us. They also had a check engine light for an O2 sensor. They wrote up a whole big list of how it was like a ghost code, just deleted it and sent it on its way. It came back through the door with the check engine light. It just needed the front O2 sensor replaced. I don't know why you didn't want to replace. It's a 2017 Escape. They're not the best thing to do, but I diagnosed it, put it in, and it went on its way. We had another one. This is half the engine rebuilder and half the person who put the engine in. It's on its second engine, and the front main seal was leaking. But the problem of the install was they left one bell housing bolt loose. The top radiator hose, this was an LS, was halfway on. The steam port wasn't fully secured on with a clamp. The oil cooler was leaking. There was a ton of stuff, little stuff, that yeah, it rolled through fine, but it's gonna be a problem down the road. Another issue with a trailer, it wasn't me that experienced this, but it was from a while back I heard that they sent out this vehicle trailer to get repaired and then it came back, someone plugged it into one of the trucks and it nearly set itself on fire. That's just word of mouth, but it's getting to a point of being dangerous now to send it out to a fleet. I mean, to send it out. It all stems back to this so-called technician shortage. It's just these guys that want to get paid a good living. They don't want to be paid $20 an hour to work on flat rate, terrible vehicles, are going somewhere else where they're going to be paid what they deserve for their skills. And it leaves this gap of just who do we hire? I guess we'll take his word for it off the street kind of guy. And that's the guy who's doing these repairs for us and many other people, your cars that are on the road, if you don't work on them, they're sending them out half-assed. Matter of fact, this last week I was a fly on the wall. I was writing up my time in my supervisor's office. We have a bunch of computers. We put our time in there. And he was on a Zoom meeting with his boss and the big boss. And with the other supervisors, they're talking about vendor statuses, how these vehicles are, how long they're at the vendor, because, well, to be truthful, when they know a major fleet comes in to do a warranty repair or any type of repair, they're pushed to the back because customers need their vehicles first. People who bought the car, paying cash, they'll get first dibs. But anyway, they're going over all this, and the big boss goes, "So what do we feel about this one specific dealer? How do we feel about this, guys?" There's this dead silence, and then my supervisor chimes in, and he, trying to say something nice, just goes, "Well, they're not horrible." And then that kind of brings it out, and we have supervisors saying what we've been saying this entire time, how this isn't only our problem that we can't find guys, it's the outside world's problem that they can't hire anyone good. It's taking too long, and they're hiring anybody with a pulse off the street, and they're fixing vehicles, which is scary. Now, for the handful of guys that work in our shop, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's good because we get to write our own check in a way. There's unlimited overtime because if you want to work, they would rather give the work to the guys in-house that they trust, and we have rules to live by and we follow them. That's what they want. They're seeing the outside work being shoddily done. So that's the case. I mean, it's great. Plenty of overtime. One guy apparently made $230,000 last year on overtime and normal work. He pretty much lived there. But that's the beauty of a fleet. They get paid good money. Max pay is like $66 an hour right now. Not trying to brag, but that's what a fleet gets you. A good fleet. Not every fleet's like that, but look out there, guys. If you need a job and you want to still turn wrenches, be my guest, apply for a fleet. And I think the company wishes it can speed up the hiring process, but it's so big and it's wrapped up in so much red tape, and HR has all these rules and background checks and tests and interviews to take that it has to take 6 months. I really feel like it shouldn't. Maybe they could step it up. Maybe someone could do that, but that's where I see it from the outside looking in, because like I said, fleets are not so wildly different, but different than the outside world. Very isolated for the most part, unless they have to send their work out. But it's creating this technician shortage is creating such a ripple effect that it's I'm lost for words. It's really bad, and there's this gap, and the only way this is going to change, and it's like talking to that wall behind me, is saying we need to get paid our worth. 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 And that's why I'm such a big advocate for fleets, because, well, most of them will pay you your worth, and on top of that, benefits and days off and just a good work-life balance. So that's my weekly update. I'm out here having a cigar because it's beautiful outside, and I'm praying for all you guys in the field. I'm hoping you do get paid with your worth. So take it easy.